The Chronicles of Stellar Mass, narrated by Barry Masteller. Copyright 2014. Stellar Mass, the Chronicles, the Great Convergence, the Conference of Masters. It was within another unfortunate lateral dimension that Stellar would nearly almost forget himself. Many don't wish, or rather are not willing, to see the all, for what it truly is: the ugly parts, the fine and good aspects, the strange and bizarre, and the lucky, mystical, and charmed forces. And of course, there are ups and there are downs in this. We are no different in any life than the quarks which spin all of us. It comes down to more than events, for events are most often manipulated by lesser forces, always an antithesis to this world. Those forces wishing to display power, oftentimes attracted to the most powerful, adorned with a stellar red herring to hang about the neck. Dark spirits can be tested just as the light. They are often given a chance to rise above the fear, to hang on the cross before their constituents, peers, and enemies. For this reason and more, dark forces are often drawn toward forces of light. They, being the antithesis to purity, think themselves experts on the subject of purity, for they have studied it to possess it, as an instrument, as a tool. Like most self-pronounced experts, they only have bit knowledge of what it is truly like to walk in the pure one's shoes, which is all an expert is, this passing knowledge of man and his fads of times, eras. When this false self-realizing and self-valuing element is removed, we are as cautious and life-preserving as a cat of sound measure, undamaged by human hand. All animals thus could be of this materia prima, this purity, could they not? We are in the process of a de-evolution, being tested by the four divisions, who keep re-emerging through seemingly different eras, cycles, and event shifts, and changes, always ending up at the same place, always with a choice to hang on to the illusion of separation, or ante up and take the good, which like whey floats to the top, for best of all is the harvest, ready now to go into the all, having never truly been divided. The filth, the dirt, the incompleteness must drop away, leaving only the pure, the good, the worthy, and true. We are all given this chance. Those who cling to a third or a quarter of a non-functioning spiritual machine and marvel at its comforts and karmic supply, which be angst, lose the measure of emotion-filled wholeness. This wholeness never stops growing, resonating, and becoming. Which are you indeed, reader? The whole or the divided? For this is the cause of it all, and you thought it was all planned to pine for you, as if your filthy soul were a pure one? How sadly mistaken. Life is hard, a true forging, especially for the true special. Those that crave to think by way of degree, intellect, to realize themselves small, and then to be of the all mind, no different than a cat? And so a spirit, or rather a soul in the building, could be placed into a darker part of the spectrum. Some may call a maze, while others a labyrinth. Some may assert it as a playground, while others a torture chamber. Yet is it, more so, the shaping of the soul, which will depart from this place upon revelation? A perspective is a filter, a looking glass, one small hole cast upon a wall of near infinity. This an angle, a degree, And if you are fortunate, as well in some cases, though transient in space-time, unfortunate to be truly evolved, truly special, a true building as well as culminating soul. This happens for nearly all throughout lifetimes, set against the mediocrity, cast billions in denial, billions of limited views, billions of eyes, holes, looking upon the all with infinitesimal perspective, only to hide their eyes altogether, to see that they cannot escape. If you were pure, you would be the only light they see. Bill, a quick shake about the shoulder, haste of the awakening from his depressed, sleepless rest. Bill, get the fuck up, asshole. Stellar's eyes began to open. For that micro moment, he could have been anywhere, anyone. He was, for he was all man, all experience, all existence, yet he didn't always know this, especially in this darker time. He hesitated, making effort to cling to the form, a perfect child of God who was still dancing, flying, levitating as a fat little cherubim skimming the living flowers before Blackjack 21 ruler on Mars, a demon god. Dumachus, billions of years ago, cast him down with the assumed ruling sign of degree. You better get your ass up, Bill, or you will be thrown in the hole again for another month. Stellar's body now reacted, and his spirit had no choice. In its slumber, he hated it when those times of selfish pain avoiding times of physical wisdom, or rather will, ruled the moment. If he only could have hung on across thousands of years ago, back in another era when he was supposed to. He was, after all, the only one who was chosen to do it and failed. Jesus did. Memories flooded Stellar. He had to gain composure, for he was to lie silent within Bill. Yet Stellar went on, this feeling of guilt, a betrayer, yet an obedient son. Yet he would be Judas, forced to watch, forced to see his very iconic friend, master, and superior die there because of him alone, his inadequacy, an error, his sin. Oh, how he was thought to be cursed in that time. And that was how he built the strength to live within this shell of a monster now. Kill while he was in his very sleep. When free, some incarnations of gods have easier roads, like Buddha. He loved remembering the mountains and the moments of walking about Asia, India, and being greeted by those living a simple life, harvesting rice. But antithesis always followed, and the cherishing of that moment set into motion that embodiment of the con. So he would learn contrast, so he would know the trueness, the realness, the rawness of what maintaining the mind, Bodhi, really meant. These thoughts were feelings, and they were to keep silent with low frequency, not to be discovered by the crows. This time was a strange one, and he wanted out. Yet there was only one way out, and that was through. Psychopathic killers get the fuck up when they are first ordered, or they get treated real special. The angry and cruel voice grumbled in a lower class, deep-pitched twang. I hate seeing these pieces of shit every goddamn day of my miserable fucking life. And this came from the guard captain, so that you know treatment at this place would be less than humane. A shovel was thrown not to him, but at him, and once made its mark. If this killing machine of a body in which Stellar was temporarily held hostage within was not in constant high alert, the shovel, and in the moment you could see the dark forces which this frequency emitter of DNA filth worked so tirelessly to become, named Bill. Too many conversations, consoling this body. Stellar, trying to read the Bible, would become angry and blinded by rage. It seemed no goodness could take place within this thing, that the 4 divisions crafted with such effort, the direct result of intentional DNA manipulation, forged over time-space to create. A morphed version of a man. Through generations, man had been frequency-controlled, fed low-quality foods, given shorter and shorter lifetimes, abused by parental means instead of showing love, placed in churches which were run by liars, those teaching the false doctrine and oftentimes worse. In this day, man had no hope, nowhere to go, no one to trust, and after all, this was the truth since the deception. This man, Bill Hicks, was a monster, a machine of pure a priori anger. Nothing good came to him, and nothing good wanted to, except for Stellar, of course. He could just pull the plug, kill himself, but then which dimension would he be cast into next? Stellar consoled Bill, and it oftentimes became a full-time job. Stellar had been through it far too many times and had learned to think on a low-frequency level, hiding from his very expression and spinning not in these lifetimes, which was why the world itself turned dark, cold, and alone. Funny how people pretend to rally together as if they always were as a people. Funny how the darkest times showed a pronounced want to what was always politically billed as change or a new hope, only to